The Miami Heat. Don't let this team get two, because they just got one. And they have confidence going to Miami. A huge underdog. No Terry Rozier. No Jimmy Butler. Backs up against the wall. No problem. You can never bet against this Miami Heat team. When it looks improbable, when it looks downright impossible, the Miami Heat, they come away with a win that leaves you just with your jaw dropped thinking, man, how does this team keep doing it? Eric Spoelstra and company tie up the series against the Boston Celtics, the almighty Boston Celtics, as this series shifts to Miami, and now all the momentum in the world is on the Miami Heat side. And Jimmy Butler, he posted something on his Instagram after the Heat won this game, and it was his face photoshopped on Jaylen Brown on the infamous meme, "Don't let us get one." And I'm telling you guys, don't let this Miami Heat team get two. The Miami Heat were simply undeniable in game two. I mean, what a turnaround. They hit a franchise playoff record 23 threes on 43 attempts, 53.5% from beyond the arc to beat the Celtics by 33 points at the three-point line. Overall, Miami beats the Celtics by 10. As you look at the Miami Heat, they have now recorded 4 playoff games in the past 2 seasons with 50% shooting from 3 against Boston. No other team has more than 1 against anyone. Tyler Hero, he bounced back in a big way. 24 points, 14 assists. He hit 6 of Miami's 23 triples, and he was just on the money. Bam Adebayo, 21 points, 10 rebounds, and Caleb Martin, 21 points for the Heat. Obviously, Celtics fans are familiar with Caleb Martin. As Miami, they turned things around from just a disastrous game one, but you look at how the Heat finished that game one. I know they were getting their butts kicked, but they were starting to develop some good habits, and we saw that carry through to this game too. So do not discredit the fact that Miami, they were fighting hard in that game one, even though the game was over, and we saw what that results in. You know, game two, Miami getting a huge win, and the Boston Celtics faithful, they left this game with a minute to play. I saw the video online. They were just heading for the stands because Miami, they got a win against these guys, when a lot of Celtics fans felt that this was going to be a sweep with no Jimmy. The Miami Heat, they seemingly always find a way, man. Every time this team seems like they're out of it, they're not. As you look at this one, guys, Hamakakis Jr. 14, Jovic 11, like I said, Adebayo 21, Hero 24, Martin 21, Highsmith 9. And you look at the Heat, they just limited the Celtics, who were the team that was firing on all cylinders when it came to the three ball, to just 37.5% from three. Celtics just hit 12 threes. That was the difference in this one. Miami making 11 more threes than the Celtics. Celtics 46% from the field. Miami +1 in terms of rebounds. And the Celtics, they did dominate points in the paint, but it did not matter, as Tatum, Brown had excellent games. But if you're the Heat, you can live with that, because Porzingis didn't play well. Drew Holiday didn't play well. And these were obviously 2 guys brought in by the Celtics to try to get over the top. So I'm telling you guys, I know it's one game, game 2, still a long way to go in the series, but there's a lot of pressure on the Celtics team, because the fact that they lose the second game of the series, it's different if you go up 2-0 and then Miami wins one and it's at home, but the fact that Miami, in just the second game of the series in Boston, shorthanded, huge underdogs, and they find a way to win. Like, if Miami somehow can win game 3, my goodness, the narrative is going to be crazy, because right now Miami, they gotta love where they are. 1-1, going to Miami for 2. Eric Spoelstra, there's no one I'd rather have in these playoffs when it comes to winning a must-win game and just making the most out of what he has. A couple of takeaways. First, Tyler Hero, he's obviously expected to step up in a big way in the absence of Jimmy Butler. And game 1 didn't necessarily go his way. But game 2, I mean, if Tyler Hero continues to play like this, Miami's going to have a really, really good shot, because Tyler Hero, he was just affecting the game in so many different ways. You know, career high 14 assists, had the 5 rebounds, just super, super efficient. We know how good this Heat team is when they're fueling off of him and when Hero's getting it going offensively. And then a positive again for the Heat, the fact that Tatum and Brown had really good games and you still beat them. And that just goes to show, if the Celtics, 1 or 2 of their big 4 doesn't play well, that all of a sudden changes the whole trajectory of the game. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how those guys respond in Miami, because Porzingis and Jrue Holiday are going to be the X factors for the Celtics. And if they can't pick up their slack, it's going to make things interesting. And then the X factors for Miami, Caleb Martin, you know, coming alive, having a big game the way that he did, 21 points. Can he get it going now? We know he's capable of getting hot. And then I think Jovic is another solid X factor. He had 11 points, but 9 rebounds, 6 assists. This is a guy who's got more of an increased role this time around. Those are guys I'm looking at who can really be, you know, difference makers. And then don't forget about Duncan Robinson. Quiet night too. If he gets it going, we know he's capable of getting it going. Look out. So Miami, they win game 2 and they gotta feel good about where they stand right now. We know Jimmy's not going to be back for this playoff series. We know the Heat are going to have to do it without him, and this would truly be an incredibly difficult task to pull off on paper. You look at the Celtics, I mean, best regular season team, historic regular season, doing all the things right, but who has haunted them in the past? The Miami Heat. And the Celtics, this should have been an easy first round playoff series for them, as they hope to gear up for a long playoff run. And the longer this thing goes, the more interesting it becomes and the more it favors Miami. So just unbelievable stuff, man. The Miami Heat, this is a team that they just keep coming at you. And really, I'm excited to see how the Heat play in game 3, because that is so much pressure on the Celtics. And that's the thing, right? Like, the Miami Heat are playing with house money. They're not expected to win the series. They're missing couple of key pieces. They're missing their best player. They're not supposed to be hanging around this Celtics team. So they're playing in these games with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Whereas the Celtics, we know there is so much pressure on this team. It's literally, this team's got to get it done this year. And if they struggle here in the first round, again, long way to go, but if they struggle in the first round, man, oh man, is that going to just all of a sudden haunt on them psychologically? Because right now, Miami Heat, they're in these guys' heads going back to last year's postseason. So Miami, they get it done, guys. Still a long way to go in the series. I did say Miami was going to win 2, by the way, before the playoffs started, once I found out Jimmy Butler was out, because I just think Miami, man, they never go away. And even without Butler and Rozier, they got so many other guys who could have big games, like we saw Hero, Caleb Martin, etc. So, hey, maybe Miami proves everybody wrong, and maybe they have a shot here to win this damn thing. I mean, if they win game 3, man, like I said, that's going to make things interesting and have a lot of people believing. But right now, if you're a Heat fan, I mean, if I told you it would be 1-1 going back to Miami, you would take that 10 out of 10 times. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. That is it for me. It's Luke signing off. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all again in the next one.